Welcome to Mind Mechanics, the channel that dives into the depths of consciousness, the mysteries of the mind, and the substances that bring it all together. Today, we're talking about one of the most intriguing substances in modern culture, MDMA, also known as ecstasy or Molly. Whether you've heard about it in relation to raves, therapy sessions, or something in between, there's a lot to unpack. So get comfortable and let's explore everything you didn't know about MDMA. Facts, history, and yes, some seriously useful harm reduction tips. Let's roll right into it! What is MDMA? MDMA, or 3,4-methylene-dioxymethamphetamine if you're feeling scientific, is a synthetic drug that combines stimulant and hallucinogenic properties. Known for creating feelings of euphoria, emotional openness, and sensory enhancement, MDMA has been called a love drug and a party drug. But it's actually a lot more complex than that. MDMA isn't just for clubbers or festival goers. It has a long, surprising history that takes it from laboratories to therapy rooms. MDMA was first synthesized in 1912 by the German pharmaceutical company Merck, though they didn't exactly know what they had created. They were actually trying to develop a medication to stop abnormal bleeding, and MDMA was just a byproduct in the process. It wasn't until the 1970s that Dr. Alexander Shulgin, a chemist and psychopharmacologist, rediscovered MDMA and realized it had profound effects on human emotions and connections. This is where the legend of MDMA as a tool for psychotherapy began. Fun fact, MDMA was originally used in marriage counseling in the 1970s and 80s, long before it became associated with rave culture. Therapists found it allowed couples to drop their defenses, feel empathy, and connect on a deeper level. It was a prescription for connection, if you will. But as MDMA's popularity grew outside of the therapy room, it became part of the rising party scene and, eventually, illegal. Chemical composition. All right, time to get a bit scientific. MDMA works by increasing the activity of 3 key neurotransmitters in the brain: serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. It's a bit of a triple threat because it floods your brain with serotonin, the happiness molecule, gives you a dose of dopamine for pleasure, and throws in norepinephrine for a little extra energy and alertness. This combination creates MDMA's trademark effects: euphoria, empathy, increased energy, and a heightened sense of touch and sound. Here's something lesser known. While MDMA's effects feel unique, it actually shares a chemical similarity with both methamphetamine, hence the meth in methylene-dioxymethamphetamine, and mescaline, a naturally occurring psychedelic. So it's like MDMA is part stimulant, part empathogen, and part mild psychedelic, all wrapped into one. And here's where it gets interesting. MDMA's intense surge of serotonin isn't all rainbows and butterflies. After it wears off, your serotonin levels can drop, leading to that notorious come down or Tuesday blues a few days later. The brain needs time to replenish its serotonin, which is why using MDMA too often can lead to longer-lasting mood dips or even emotional exhaustion. In short, MDMA is like a serotonin supercharge, but the brain needs time to refill the tank. Other street names. MDMA has its fair share of street names, each reflecting its varied cultural connections. Ecstasy and Molly are the most common, but while they're often used interchangeably, there's a difference. Molly is marketed as pure MDMA in crystal or powder form, while ecstasy usually refers to pressed pills that often contain MDMA, but can be mixed with other substances like caffeine, amphetamines, or even ketamine. And then we have the nicknames from the club and festival scene like E, X, and Love Drug. MDMA's association with feelings of empathy and openness led to these names, and its reputation for bringing people together in high-energy settings earned it a special place in music culture. Oh, and here's a fun fact. Some people refer to MDMA as Adam, because early therapists thought it brought people back to a state of innocence, like the biblical Adam in the Garden of Eden. Whether or not that's true, MDMA's effects on emotional connection have definitely contributed to its allure over the years. History of its use. MDMA's history is a winding road from secret labs to dance floors. As mentioned, Merck first synthesized MDMA in 1912, but it stayed mostly out of the spotlight until Dr. Shulgin reintroduced it in the 70s. He was fascinated by its ability to create a state of emotional openness without the intense visuals of classic psychedelics, so he shared it with therapists, who began using it in sessions to help patients open up. The real explosion in popularity came in the 1980s, when MDMA made its way into nightclubs and the emerging rave culture. People discovered that MDMA's effects were perfect for dancing all night, connecting with strangers, and experiencing music on an entirely new level. But as its recreational use spread, MDMA caught the attention of the DEA, and in 1985, it was classified as a Schedule I drug, making it illegal in the US. Here's a twist. While MDMA was banned, its therapeutic potential never disappeared. In recent years, there's been a resurgence of interest in MDMA-assisted therapy, particularly for PTSD. Clinical trials are underway, and early results suggest that MDMA can help people process trauma in a safe, supportive setting. If approved, MDMA could become the first Schedule I substance to re-enter mainstream medicine, a story of redemption for a drug with a complicated past. Where does it come from? Unlike heroin or cocaine, which come from plants, MDMA is fully synthetic, meaning it's made in labs. Most of the MDMA on the streets today is manufactured illegally in underground labs, often in Europe. Some of the main precursor chemicals, like safrole, come from plants, such as the sassafras tree. Unfortunately, this has led to environmental issues, as certain species of these trees have become endangered due to illegal harvesting. Here's an interesting tidbit. MDMA's production process is highly complex and dangerous. It involves a series of steps that require precise control over temperature, pH, and pressure. If you get it wrong, things can go explosively wrong, literally. This is why making MDMA isn't something amateurs typically attempt. Most MDMA comes from highly organized operations, and like many things in the black market, quality control can vary widely. How much does it cost? On the street, MDMA costs vary depending on the form, location, and purity. A single dose can range from $10 to $20, with an entire gram, typically enough for 4 to 5 doses, costing around $80 to $150 in the US, but price doesn't necessarily guarantee quality, especially since MDMA can be cut with all kinds of substances, from harmless fillers like sugar to more dangerous drugs like methamphetamine. And here's the kicker. While MDMA is usually advertised as pure Molly in crystal form, it's often mixed with other substances to increase profit margins. According to recent studies, as much as 50% of Molly tested in some regions contained no MDMA at all. This means people may think they're taking MDMA when they're actually consuming something entirely different, with potentially dangerous effects. What effects does it have on the body scientifically? When MDMA enters the body, it primarily affects serotonin levels, but it also has an impact on dopamine and norepinephrine. This combination is what creates that trademark euphoria, empathy, and sensory enhancement. Users often report feeling deeply connected to others, experiencing a profound sense of peace, and even finding new insights into themselves. The serotonin surge is where MDMA's magic comes from, but it also comes with a downside. Serotonin is the brain's feel-good neurotransmitter, responsible for mood regulation, sleep, and appetite. When MDMA depletes serotonin stores, users might feel great during the experience, but may experience fatigue, mood swings, and irritability once it wears off. This is commonly known as the come down, and it can last anywhere from a few hours to a couple of days. Fun fact: MDMA has a unique effect called pro-social behavior. Studies have shown that MDMA increases feelings of trust and empathy, making it easier for people to share personal thoughts and feel connected. This is one reason why MDMA-assisted therapy shows promise for conditions like PTSD, where trust and openness are crucial to healing. Breaking down those effects in plain English. Think of MDMA as a warm blanket for the soul. It's like that perfect combination of a heart-to-heart conversation, your favorite song, and a big, warm hug, all rolled into one. Under MDMA's influence, people often feel a sense of openness and love that's hard to put into words. Music sounds richer, colors seem brighter, and everything feels connected in a way that's both profound and, well, a little magical. MDMA isn't all sunshine and rainbows. That love and connection come at a cost, because once the effects wear off, the world can feel a little less colorful. This post-MDMA slump happens because your brain's serotonin, the chemical responsible for happiness and well-being, gets depleted. When serotonin levels drop, you're left feeling tired, moody, and maybe even a bit anxious. For some, it's mild. For others, it's a full-on Tuesday blues situation, where you feel emotionally drained or flat for a day or two. This dip in mood is why many experienced MDMA users are careful not to use it too often. giving their brain plenty of time to recover between sessions. Duration of its effects. MDMA's effects kick in about 30 to 60 minutes after taking it and can last anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, depending on factors like your metabolism, tolerance, and dose. The peak experience, where those feelings of euphoria, empathy, and sensory enhancement are at their strongest, typically lasts around 2 to 3 hours. After that, the effects gradually taper off, leaving you in a mellow, reflective state as you start coming down. But the length of the come down can vary widely. Some people bounce back quickly, while others might feel mentally and emotionally drained for days afterward. This afterglow or come down period is highly individual, which is why some people swear by spacing out their MDMA use to avoid potential burnout. One interesting detail: MDMA is processed through the liver, and taking it with other substances that also use the liver's metabolic pathways, like alcohol, can strain the liver and affect the duration and intensity of the effects. Plus, alcohol and MDMA both dehydrate you, which can make the come down feel even worse. So, mixing substances can extend the effects but may also amplify the negative side of the experience. General precautions and harm reduction. Alright, here's where things get real. While MDMA can be an amazing experience, it's not without risks. The good news: there are a number of harm reduction techniques that can help make the experience safer. Some of these might be familiar, but others are lesser-known tricks of the trade. First things first, test your MDMA. You'd be surprised how many people skip this step, but it's crucial. MDMA on the street is often cut with other substances, some of which can be dangerous. A simple reagent test kit can help confirm what's in your powder or pill, reducing the risk of unexpected effects. Kits are widely available and easy to use. Remember, Molly or ecstasy isn't always pure MDMA. Sometimes it's a mix of other drugs like meth, ketamine, or synthetic cathinones, aka bath salts. Next, stay hydrated, but not overhydrated. MDMA makes it easy to forget about basics like drinking water, especially if you're dancing or active. Sipping water throughout the experience is essential, but don't overdo it. MDMA affects the body's ability to process water, and drinking too much can lead to a condition called hyponatremia, which dilutes sodium in the body. The sweet spot is about half a cup of water every hour, especially if you're in a hot environment. Take breaks if you're dancing or at a festival. MDMA can raise body temperature, and combined with physical exertion, this can lead to overheating. Cooling down regularly can prevent hyperthermia, a serious risk. Some people even bring fans, cool towels, or ice packs to festivals. Tools that might seem unnecessary but can genuinely help keep your body temperature down. Then there's the supplement game, a trick that not everyone knows. Certain supplements can help reduce the oxidative stress MDMA puts on your brain cells, potentially easing the come down. Taking antioxidants like vitamin C and E before and after MDMA can help combat some of the neurotoxic effects. Another popular option is 5-HTP, a supplement that supports serotonin production. However, it's best to take 5-HTP a day or two after your experience, not immediately before or after, as it can interfere with MDMA's effects. And here's a lesser-known tip. Magnesium supplements can help reduce jaw clenching and muscle tension, which are common side effects of MDMA. Taking magnesium a few hours before can minimize these GERN effects, making the experience more comfortable. Lastly, and most importantly, don't use MDMA too frequently. Your brain's serotonin needs time to recover between uses. Experts recommend waiting at least a few weeks, if not months, between sessions. Too frequent use can lead to a depletion of serotonin that's hard to bounce back from, causing lasting emotional fatigue and making future MDMA experiences feel less impactful. Government's opinion. MDMA's legal status is complicated. It's classified as a Schedule I drug in the US and many other countries, meaning it's illegal to buy, use, or possess. But interestingly, MDMA's potential for therapy, particularly in treating PTSD, is leading to some legal shifts. MDMA-assisted therapy is currently in clinical trials with promising results. The FDA has even granted MDMA-assisted therapy breakthrough therapy status, which is a fast-track designation for treatments showing exceptional promise. In countries like Portugal, where drug possession has been decriminalized, MDMA users face fewer legal risks and are encouraged to seek support if needed rather than fearing criminal charges. This approach emphasizes harm reduction over punishment, acknowledging that people will use substances and that it's safer to focus on education and health support than legal repercussions. And while recreational use remains illegal in most places, The growing body of research around MDMA's therapeutic potential could lead to new legislation. In a few years, we might see MDMA become available for therapeutic purposes under controlled medical settings. Enjoying the ride? Don't forget to subscribe to Mind Mechanics for more explorations into the mind, the substances that impact it, and the techniques to navigate it all safely. Hit that bell icon to stay updated, because you won't want to miss our next deep dive. Now let's continue. Our opinion. MDMA is often painted as either a love drug or a dangerous party drug, but the truth lies somewhere in between. For many, MDMA offers a profound experience of empathy, joy, and connection that's difficult to achieve in everyday life. It's a substance that brings people together, allows them to explore new aspects of themselves, and fosters a unique sense of community. When used responsibly, MDMA can be a powerful tool for personal insight, emotional healing, and even spiritual connection. But MDMA isn't without risks, and respecting its power is key. The intense serotonin release means it shouldn't be taken lightly or used frequently. Just because it's a fun or lighthearted experience doesn't mean it's harmless. Overuse can lead to emotional burnout, and the experience can lose its magic if done too often. MDMA is best used as a tool for occasional, intentional exploration rather than regular escapism. What's exciting is the potential for MDMA-assisted therapy to help people with PTSD and other mental health issues. For many, MDMA's ability to foster openness and empathy makes it a game-changer, allowing people to confront trauma in ways they couldn't before. It's a promising area of research that's breaking down the stigma around MDMA and proving that substances often labeled dangerous or reckless can have legitimate benefits when used responsibly and under the right guidance. In the end, MDMA reminds us that context and intent matter. While it may have started as a party drug, it's now evolving into a tool for healing and self-discovery. Whether you're considering using it recreationally or are just curious about its potential, the key is to approach it with knowledge, respect, and intention. MDMA has the power to bring people closer to themselves and others, but only if we treat it with the care it deserves. Thanks for watching Mind Mechanics. We hope this exploration into MDMA's history, chemistry, and harm reduction techniques has been eye-opening. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with a friend, and let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to dive into. Until next time, remember, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.